All right, here we go. Hello, everybody. Let's get real about what's coming up. We're lining up another shop owners panel, and this time we are going after the creeping influence of local politics. And I'm not talking about the politics inside of a shop, I'm talking about your local municipality. And I'm not talking about campaign signs or who you voted for. I'm talking about the common sense day to day headaches, the common sense topics, the common sense headaches that blindside you, like zoning battles or parking constraints or new signage rules, inspections, not car inspections, but shop inspections, ordinances that nobody mentioned to you until you've already written the check, right? And these aren't things that you can ignore or hope to go away. They're on your doorstep when you least expect it. And when you're not ready, they're going to cost you money and momentum. So, we're going to bring in shop owners on the next panel, and we're going to be talking to people who have lived it. These folks have gotten dinged or are battling or have battled all sorts of fluctuating regulation changes. They've dealt with the neighbors. They've gone to City Hall. They'll share their stories and what they got pushed back on and what they're pushing back on and what they conceded and so on and so forth. Learn from their experiences. All right. Because the reality is, if you're just trying to add a bay or expand your lot or keeping your parking lot organized, you're not just fighting marketing forces. You're also fighting local politics, whether you want to or not. And so I was talking to a shop owner that we've had on for an Origin Impact series. And she's not even going to be on this particular upcoming panel, but she could have been, because she talked a lot about how, and you could check out that origin story as well, about how she wanted to just add a handful of outside lifts, and that didn't work. That wasn't allowed. And so she ended up having to build. Anyway, if you missed the last shop owner panel, now that one was about dual pricing. I'm talking about credit card fees, offering cash discounts. That was episode 37. And you should also check out the following episode of episode 38, because in episode 37, we had real experiences of shop owners talking about their situations and their perceptions of whether or not to pass on credit card fees or handle dual pricing or cash discounting. And then on episode 38, we brought on some vendors who potentially can help, not potentially, can help your auto repair shop navigate the rules and regulations. It's not just about the discount that you're charging or managing that or recouping that cost. It's also about doing it correctly to stay within the guidelines. And so they talked about that on episode 38. Some shops are doing it. More and more shops are doing this dual pricing scenario. I'm not telling you to do it. I'm not telling you to not do it. I'm telling you that you do need to listen to both episode 37 and 38 and figure out what's right for your shop. And that might be a conversation with the vendor before you can actually get that point. But do it. I know that nickeling and diming sounds cheap, and we talked about that on the panel. So go listen to it. On another note that about the Garage Grip podcast, we've had an increased interest in the Origin and Impact series, and it's just we're just kind of getting some momentum here. So starting next week, we're going to start dropping 2 episodes a week, more shop stories, more lessons, more perspectives from owners that are in the similar boots that you're in. It's not this fluff stuff. It's the real gritty, real side world of the auto repair business. And so if you're not already subscribed, you need to fix that, because otherwise you're going to potentially miss the story that's going to resonate the most with you. And you don't want to miss these Origin and Impact series. And by the way, if you're ever curious on knowing why I named it the Origin and Impact series, let me know. Or if you think you know, why don't you drop a comment and let me know right here what you think how we define it, or why we defined it, or why we called it the Origin and Impact series, and I'll let you know if you're accurate or not. All right. And so if you're watching this in replay, you can search Live 29 on the Garage Grip podcast, and the link's in the bio to make that easy. Okay. So I also want to hear from you on whether or not the local government has blindsided you with a rule, a ticketed inspection that kind of threw you off or blocked you from expanding the operations when the market was screaming at you to add on. One of my most local stories to me is a shop owner flat out told me that he could double his shop as far as volume. He's confident that he'd be able to do it in a heartbeat. He has the land behind his shop. And he said, I don't feel like fighting with the township. They're a mess. How crazy is that? They're not in the township that I'm in, but they're in an adjacent township. And it's very, very interesting. But listen, if you're new here to the Garage Grit podcast, and this is your first live reel that you're listening to, by the way, I'm Brad Herlock and the host of the Garage Grit podcast, also a co-owner of AA Shop Marketing, a digital marketing shop for auto repair shops. But let me clear this up real clear. Let me put this out there. You're going to hear things about how to improve your shop, how to improve the processes, how to improve the people. That's what you hear a lot about on the Garage Grit podcast. But I'm not a coach. I'm a digital marketing guy. My job is not to give you a motivational speech and then disappear. My job, and that's not what coaches do either. My job also isn't to hold you accountable to the different things inside your shop and what's going on a weekly basis or a monthly basis. My job is to help shops like yours get more clicks. And from those clicks, more calls. And from those calls, more customers. And let's make sure those calls turn into money instead of wasted time. What do you say? All right. But today, during this live podcast, we are covering three things. All right. I've already talked to you a little bit about the politics and the zoning issues. And with this supposedly off election year, it actually is the most important year for you to be voting. Get the common sense people in there. Get the pro auto repair shop people in your local municipality so that if in a year or 2 years you do want to grow, you will be less likely to be blocked and stopped. Now, I'm also going to talk to you a little bit about the podcast that most recently dropped earlier today with Austin Spencer Collision. Shanley and her dad, Alan, were fantastic. They talked a little bit about the honesty in inspections. They talked about pushing back on insurers. And so you're going to want to check that out. And then also, I'm going to give you a couple of different marketing tips specifically for shop owners like Shanley and Alan, who are running a combo shop with auto body and auto repair. And then also another tip for those who are inheriting shops from the generation before them. Interesting enough, that's also like Shanley and Alan. And inheriting is probably the wrong word because usually the next generation, buys out their dad in some sort of arrangement. Anyway, so, but before I do any of that, here is something for every repair shop. Okay. Because you're listening to the Garage Grit podcast live, go get your free analysis or upgrade to a paid analysis. And let's see here. I'm going to pull up the screen so that you can take a look at it so that you know that you're at the right spot. All right. There it is. You can go to addi.me/jumpstart, ADDI.me/jumpstart. And you'll land on this page. All right. And you're going to be able to find out what your next marketing step is. You're going to get that local grid map. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you need to know, get your free snapshot. Or you can upgrade to the 650 option. All right. Usually $900, but we're doing this Jumpstart for 2026, specifically for those who are listening into the Garage Grit podcast. And you can order that now. And that's a very comprehensive report, a lot more than just the free quick report. We're going to go into details as far as what your next steps are, and not just what your next step, singular versus plural, right? And we're going to give you also a strategy session with that so that we can kind of walk you through what that report means and means to you. And that's only $650, great value. And that live link of addi.me/jumpstart, addi.me/jumpstart actually is not live right now as I'm recording this. It is going to be live within the next 2 hours. And so I'm going to make a little bit of a game with you on this. If you're listening to this live, you need to set your alarm right now on your phone for 3 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, actually, on 9/30/2025, so that at 3 o'clock you can hop back out, check out that link, and go to it. And if you are the first two people, if you are the first two people that that fill out that form, then I will give you for half that. So not 650, but 325. Got it? Okay. let's stop sharing the window. Let's get into this podcast. Let's start talking about you, and let's start talking about this this past episode that just dropped. Let's actually talk about that. All right, here we go. Alan and Shanley of Austin Spencer Collision in New York, outside of Rochester. It's a family shop, been there since the 80s. I like that. I love that, actually. Alan started young, built it up from the ground, expanded, partnered, split, and now he runs it alongside his daughter. And if you're in a family business, you know how rare it is to see a father and daughter running the floor together, but it's beautiful. And if you're thinking about what it looks like to pass on your shop the next generation, or if you are thinking about taking over the shop from the prior generation, this episode is basically a playbook in many ways. It's actually not even the only one that we've done like this, but it's worth checking out. You also want to check out episode 9 from back in 2024, when we had a handful of people sharing their stories. But on this episode, a couple moments stood out, and I believe this is episode 39. But a couple moments stood out. Alan told me, plain and simple, we actually fix what needs to be done. And the way he plainly said that, didn't even have to give me examples of how customers will walk in with a 12 item list that they got from Quick Lube or a chain oriented shop. And then, Alan and his team will put the car on the lift and show the customer the actual truth of how that 12-point list was more than was an overkill. They only needed half the items. And think about what that does to build trust, right? Do that transparency. Talk about what needs to be done. Talk about preventative maintenance. Talk about future maintenance, and talk about, you don't have to sell everything under the sun, right? Talk about what's best for them and what their goals are with their car. I love that. So the customer came in braced for a $3,000 bill, and now they leave with less. That's a trust for life situation. They're not going to be as likely to do a search on Google for auto repair near me. They're just going to come to you. And so that's the key right there. Converting those who are doing that search from auto repair near me to become a lifelong customer. Shanley took it further. Half her job is walking customers through what insurance companies didn't tell them: rental cars, total deductibles. She's not anti-insurance. She's just pro-customer. And when you help someone navigate all of that red tape, you're not just helping your body shop, you're actually being the customer's advocate. And that's why people stick with a family shop instead of letting the insurance carrier shove them into a corporate DRP. They also pulled back the curtain a little bit from their old school shift pen and paper folders to a digital system. And if you are in the process of taking over a shop, you're managing the shop that your father owned or whatever the case might be, or your parents owned, and you're going through that process of switching from pen and paper to digital, or you've recently done that, I'm very interested in hearing your story. I want to bring you on the Origin and Impact series. I want to hear that story from you, what that was like. And anyone could pick up the file with the pen and paper and help the customer without, I'm sorry, let me back that up. The paper and pen system, you had to find the file, the manila folder. You know what? I'm not even going to tell you the whole story. You need to listen to episode 39 on how interesting it used to be and how efficient it is today. Go watch episode 39 of the Origin and Impact series on YouTube or Spotify. We'll drop some links below. And of course, you can just search Garage Grit Podcast, or sometimes you need to add Brad Herlock. And so if you're a family shop, or you're tired of watching the insurance companies push your customers around, this episode is going to hit home. How do you handle your inspections and trust moments at your shop? Are you showing customers the full list every single time? Do you break it down into urgent versus what can wait? If you could just drop full list or, red plus next in the chat and tell me why. Let's shift gears. All right. So last week I gave you a powerful story about how it's a combination. You need to have the marketing going. You have to have the marketing wheels going, but you also need to have the ability to handle the phone calls to really get the value of your marketing investment. This time, I'm just going to give you straight up marketing tips. All right. let's first run a tip for a combo shop. If you run a repair shop and a collision center under the same name, one of the big mistakes that are made on the marketing side is forgetting the other. You either scream collision or you scream repair, and nobody really knows that you, if you scream collision, that you do a brake job or you run an oil change. Nobody knows, and if you're just focused on the oil change side, no one knows that you're also fixing the bumpers. It's missed business. It's confusion. Customers love a single trusted shop, and that's what you have the opportunity to do. So say it. So whether it's bumper to bumper or body and mechanical or all auto repair, mechanical and body, right? All in one place. If your Google profile just says auto body, it's time to make a change. Add the auto repair side. If your homepage only shows wrecked cars, and then maybe you need to add some maintenance-based pictures. Show both. All right. Next tip. If you are a second generation owner or soon to be or hope to be, when you're talking about your story and your marketing, I'm pausing here because I'm told to say, don't over focus on since 19 whatever. I love that. I think that's great, but I think it's equally important, and this is where it's kind of a balance. Start there and talk about the heritage, because I think it's cool and I think it builds trust and I think your customers love it as well. But you also have to tell the story of how you've evolved your shop. So maybe instead of since 1955 or 1972 or 1985, you say evolving since 1985. What about that? What if it shows that you have the history plus your current? Heritage matters, but modern customers want to know that you've kept up. The cars have advanced. Have you? Right? If you're still if you're still working on carburetors, write carburetors if you know how to spell it in the show notes or in the comments. I mean, no, but seriously, balance it. Show the family story, but show your face. Show your modern day methods and your tools. Maybe even do a 30-second video or multiple 15-second videos, and add the tagline of my dad started this shop and I'm carrying it forward with today's tech. Old values, new tech, right? That's trust. That's relevance. Go with that. Now, for everyone who isn't in those two categories, let's do a health check for, and this actually applies to those two categories as well. Let's do a health check on your digital marketing. All right. Here are 3 action steps that you can do right now. Here's your homework assignment. I dare you to do it, and I dare you to let me know how it went. Okay. Number 1, check your LSAs. If you don't know what LSAs are, those are Google local service ads. If you don't have those, then you should be contacting us to help you get them set up. If you have them, pull 5 random calls from last week. They all start with, this is a Google call. All right. And so now you know which ones I'm talking about. And here's my question. Are those converting? Are they even about the right services? I bet they are. But let's do a check on that, because it might be something to do with your Google profile if they're not. If they're not converting, ask yourself why. Is it because the lead is suspect? Or is it because the person that's answering the phone isn't hospitality driven enough? Isn't confident enough, isn't friendly enough, isn't warm enough, isn't shepherding the caller from a phone call to a customer? And if you're not running LSA ads, then that's your first fail. Let's get that fixed for you. All right. Number 2, check your reviews. Here's the next action step, your next homework assignment. Check your reviews. Go to your Google business profile, go to the reviews, sort the reviews by the newest. I want you to write down the dates of the last 15. And then I want you to look at that. Is it a steady flow, or is it all over the place? And are there lapses? Are you getting a steady flow of reviews per week, months, or is there gaps? A healthy shop should have a steady drip of fresh reviews, not, burst 3 months ago and then again 2 months later. A consistency is telling Google that you are constantly and consistently serving your customers. Number 3, look around the room. Look around your shop. What's the culture like? What's the vibe like? What's the team with each other? Now, you know that you're there, all right? But if I land on your Facebook page, or if I go to your website, Do I get the same vibe? Do I get the same culture? Or does it just feel like an online billboard? Customers want to, especially on social media, customers want to see your team, your people, your vibe, your relationships, not stock images and ads. They want to see you being you. They like you for a reason. Sometimes we're not sure what that is, but they like you and trust you for a reason. I'm just kidding. And you need to have that reason reflected on your social media. And if your culture is not showing up online, you're leaving you're not just you're leaving dozens and dozens and dozens of possible customers off your list. So fix that. All right. So there's your homework assignments. Check out 5 LSA phone calls, listen to them, audit your review flow, check your culture, specifically what it looks like online. Combo shops, family shops, anyone serious about growth, you can't skip this. Customers need clarity. Google needs consistency, and your team needs that confidence. If you want help putting this all together, your LSAs, your reviews, your culture, messaging, hit the link in the bio for AA Shops Next Marketing Analysis, or do even better, go to addi.me/jumpstart, addi.me/jumpstart, and we'll tell you exactly what's working, what's leaking, what to fix first, right? We'll do a quick analysis for the free option and a very detailed plus strategy session for the paid option. Okay. We covered a lot. It's time to kind of bring this down to an end here, to a close. We talked about the shop owner panel with the politic conversation coming up. We've talked about the past episode about dual pricing and credit card fees. We talked about the most recent Origin and Impact series with Shanley and Allen. And that was episode 39. You need to go check that out on YouTube and Spotify. We also talked about the tips for the combo shop and with the tips for the second generation owner, and balancing your heritage with the modernization. Sometimes you just need a drink of water before you keep saying those bigger words, right? Respect the past. Don't get trapped in it. Customers need to see that you are growing and evolving. Okay. I'll say it one more time. I'm not a coach. I'm a digital marketing guy. And my job is to help you turn the attention into customers, from clicks to calls to customers into loyalty. That's a little bit on you, but I'm going to help with the right messaging. So if you want to know an honest, no fluff analysis of where your shop stands, addi.me/jumpstart. That's addi.me/jumpstart. Okay. What's the biggest takeaway? Come back here after you've listened to episode 39 and let me know what your biggest takeaway was. And also here, before you go, let me know what your biggest pain point is right now. Is it hiring? Is it navigating ADOS? Is it expansion? Whatever's on your plate, let us know. Let's grow strong together.